Hey there, my friends. How are you doing today? Isn't it let me have a look, sir. It's a bright and beautiful day out there. A little bit cooler here in Adelaide than what it has been recently. And I have to say, I'm pretty stoked about that too. But mind you, I love all the weather here. Whether it's hot or it's cold or it's halfway in between, it doesn't matter to me. So I am having a look at my business and everything that's going on in that at the moment, and there's so many changes happening really, really quickly. There's different directions being taken and different choices being made by the people around me, and all of it is actually, it's really curious because instead of going into trauma and drama about it and into story about any of it, I'm just like, oh, cool, now what can I choose? So there's things that have, events that have been finished, and there's other events that are starting. There's stuff happening with finances, and all sorts of things are going on. I've got, my partner and I are going to be moving house soon, and so we're trying to find a new home, and there's a lot of things up in my world right now. And do you know what? This would have to be, I was just sitting back and looking at all of this morning and going, do you know what? This has to be one of the first times in my life I've actually felt like I can handle all of this with absolute total ease. And I don't feel the requirement or the desire to go into a lot of story or trauma and drama about it. It's just like, okay, so that's cool. Now what? You know? There's a lot of people in my world right now who are in a lot of story, trauma, and drama. And you know that old adage of not my circus, not my monkeys? Well, that one there is sometimes, as they say, easier said than done, especially when they are very close to you, or you work with them a lot, or, you know, they treat you like family or whatever. And these people, when they are in your world, are big, right? And when you're in the space of no point of view, when you're in the space of total allowance for whatever they're choosing, whatever trauma, drama, you can then start asking, what contribution can I be here? Instead of diving right on into their little world of trauma, drama, story, cesspool with them. And in the world of facilitation and coaching and stuff like that, that's actually really important to be able to remain from an observant point of view. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Wendy. And from an observant point of view, and then you can actually be in a space of real total allowance for whatever these other people are choosing. And then you can also be in a space of total awareness as well, and be able to ask those questions that perhaps they can't quite wrap their heads around asking yet. And so when you're, for me at the moment, like I said, everything is changing. My business is changing. My living situation is changing. The dynamic between me and my partner is changing a lot at the moment. My 2-week trip to New Zealand created a lot of awarenesses and a lot of change for me personally. And whenever I facilitate classes, there's always a lot of change that goes on for me anyway. And while I was over in New Zealand, I facilitated both the Access Bars and the Energetic Facelift class, and both of those classes were fucking dynamic. And there was a lot of pathways that were created along with listening to some new people in my world like Matt Kahn. If you haven't listened to Matt Kahn, he's got a really different way of looking at things. And there was one particular thing that he brought up, I think it was like, it's this week, he's released a video around unpacking judgment, and it just rocked my world, and it made me go, yes, that's the piece that I've been missing, that I've really been after. And if you, I'll put it in a link under here when I've finished. But the thing about it is that what if judgment is not what you think it is? What if it's not something to resist and react to? What if judgment is actually information? It might not be what you think it is on the surface, but there's actually some stuff sitting underneath. So For example, I could be going into a lot of judgment about how long it's taking to find a house, the price of houses. It could be that I go into a lot of judgment about, even having to pay for anything like that. Or I could be going into a lot of judgment about the fact that my partner and I are not choosing to buy a house right now. We are still choosing to rent. And there's a money aspect to that, and a lot of this judgment stuff that's popping up, that's floating around us, is not ours. It's truly not ours. We're choosing for us, and we're choosing what's going to create the most for us. And for a lot of people, that doesn't make sense. Why would you spend that much money on a rental when you can just buy something that's equivalent for a lot less, or further out for a lot less, or you could do this for a lot less? And it's like, there's that word, less. What if we're not looking at less than anymore? And this is actually a space that my beautiful, delicious other actually invited me to after I'd come back from New Zealand. And this is a funny thing, we actually had a bit of a crunchy moment about it. And when I sat back and looked at what he was showing me, what he was actually showing me was a space of more. How we can invite each other and our businesses and everything else to more, to greater, to stretch us out of our comfort zone into that learning zone, into that prosperity zone, where we can be abundant and create even more for each other as well as ourselves. And it's a big change. It's a big change to go from a space of lack. It's a big change to go from that space of struggle with money. I was listening to Corey Michelle this morning, who was doing a congruency call around money. And it's like, yeah, how many of us have a point of view that money is a struggle? And what if changing your point of view around money, and that perhaps it doesn't have to be a struggle, that's a big change. And so if you haven't caught that particular replay from Corey Michelle yet, please find her and do it and listen to it, because it was fucking awesome. And I had so many gems that popped out of that for me personally. Let's see. I wrote it down. Where did I write it? There we go. See, I have a few different places that I write things down. So what if here is one of the absolute amazing gems from the first part of the call was, what if you became so addicted to light and expansiveness rather than addicted to the heavy, the trauma and the drama and the story? And I'm like, fuck yes. Yes, that's using an addiction to your best advantage. What if making money and receiving money and having money could be your addiction, instead of the trauma and drama of not having enough, thinking you've not got enough, thinking you're not enough, thinking that you can't handle that much money, thinking, and all that lack stuff, all that fear stuff around money. It's a big change, right? And here's the thing, if you really desire for your life to be bigger, greater, more expansive, you have to change to receive that. I've had to change hugely to be able to receive this absolutely phenomenal life that I'm creating and have already created. If I compare how I am now, and this is one of the things about going back to New Zealand for a couple of weeks and going back to places that I used to live with my first husband and stuff like that, it allowed me the space to reflect on how far I have come. How far I've come from when I was with him and I was in such a space of contraction and heaviness and lack with money especially, that even spending $5 on myself at the warehouse, I felt so guilty for. So guilty. And yet he had no problem spending his money, my money, all of it. None at all. And it's so interesting to see where I'm at now, where I'm actually willing to spend a lot more on me. And I'm not talking about just $20 here or $50 there. It's like thousands of dollars on me and my business, and actually looking at what's going to create so much more. And sometimes what happens for me is like I might get a bit caught up in the head tripper of it, you know, oh, what's going to happen if I spend this much money, and how have I got all my ducks in a row? And I'm not using my awareness when I'm in that space. What often happens when I'm in that space, hi Monica, is I'm creating a lot of judgment, and I'm creating a massive space of lack. And there was something I read in the Joy of Business book this morning about, you know, when you say she was talking, so this is The Joy of Business is a book by Simone Milasas, if you've not heard of it. And she was talking about when you say, I don't want to do business like my father. And when you use the word want, you're actually talking about to lack. The original meaning of want was actually to lack. So it's like I'm lacking in doing business like my father, which means I'm actually abundant in doing business as my father does. And it's like, whoa, that just really rocked my world this morning. And I was like, holy moly, how much have I resisted and reacted to in my life, not just with business, but in relationship and with money, where I've gone, I don't want to be like blah, blah, blah. And in doing that, I'm going, not only am I lacking in whatever I'm trying to create, but I'm also abundant in that space of lack. It's like, whoa, and that's what I'm asking the universe for? That's nuts. Like, that's just crazy stuff. So it's a verbiage change. Instead of using words like want and need, we use words like desire and require. How much better does that get for you? How does that feel? Does it feel light and expansive to use words like desire and require? Certainly feels light and expansive for me. And something else that has popped into my reality lately, especially around money, is asking the universe for money every day. Asking the universe for universal deposits into my bank account every day. And it was so funny because I did this for a couple of days, and next thing you know, I've got this random payment into my PayPal account, and I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know it was coming to me exactly, but I was just like, wow, that's so cool. Now what else can I receive? And I'm wondering, do you receive money in that way? How do you feel when you receive money, whether it be in your bank account, whether it be as cash payments, whether somebody just gives you money for the sake of it? How do you receive that? Do you go, oh, okay, now which bill does this need to go on? And what if you changed that pathway and created a different pathway with money where you got excited about it? Where you're like, wow, thank you so much. Like, and it's not just thank you to the person who's given it to you, it's thank you to the money for coming to you and for you receiving it in the first place. It's like, wow, choice, look at me. I actually received this money and it was easy. So this energy that I'm being right now, what if you could take that, or your version of that, however that looks for you, and play with it? Play with it with money. Play with it when challenges come up in your world and you're sort of looking at something going, oh my God, shit, that thing's just ended. That relationship's just ended. And what the fuck am I going to do now? Right? What if you could spin that round, turn it 180 degrees and look at it from a different point of view and go, ooh, what choice can I make now that's so much more expansive beyond this? I wonder what that would create in your world. Okay, guys, I have got so much more I want to share, but do you know what? I think you guys have probably had enough for now. Let me know in the comments below if there's any particular subjects you would like me to chat about. And I'll do a Facebook Live at some point. There's lots of new things coming up for me, and I'm really looking forward to playing with them, playing with you guys, and seeing what else we can create in this absolutely fucking amazing world that we call home. What if this earth is heaven on earth, and we're just learning how to play here. Alrighty guys, catch you later. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful, be you, and thank you for watching. Bye.